Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show, and we're going to be talking portals today, but not as much. But yeah, I know it's related, and we'll talk about that too. But not as much like Stargate AI, portal kind of thing. But we're going to bump on that. But I've got a whole presentation of images and things that we're going to be looking at. I promise you, today's show is going to be very, very interesting, intriguing, and I'm going to share some concepts with y'all guys that probably most or none of you have ever heard me speak on, and I think you're going to find it fascinating. I don't know about y'all guys, but I really like this. Just pumps me up.
I agree. Everybody should listen to that for like 5 minutes in the morning to get the day going. That don't get your blood pumping, it doesn't pump.
Wow, gets me pumped. Woo, got goosebumps. Gets me pumped. All right, guys, we're going to talk portals today, but we're going to take it in a direction you're not expecting, okay? You see, and Roxy's here with me. Shannon has got some family in the hospital that she's having to go and be at the hospital. She's probably watching, I imagine. So, hello, Shannon, our co-host.
Hey, Shannon.
And Brother Dan is still getting set up in Texas, but he'll be back. And I'm hoping that some of you guys will join us here on the show as well, because this is an open panel show today. Again, it's the same link as before if you bookmarked it, and you can join us here. Now, when you come on, you have to, unless I know who you are, cameras can't be on. It's just audio only. So you'll come in, turn your camera off, and you can join us on the show. And if we get any donkeys, we'll deal with them. But we only had one the other day, And but yeah, we're going to really be talking some serious, interesting portal stuff. And this is an adult conversation we're going to have. So I hope everybody here considers themselves to be an adult. Okay. And you'll understand what I mean by that here in just a moment. But we're going to get right straight on into it, because I really want to show y'all guys some cool stuff.
Maybe we should say grown-up conversation, not adult. There
Okay.
we go.
Grown-up works for me.
Grown-up.
Enlightened conversation, because we're going to take a look at our bodies and look for portals. And we're going to take a look at the earth and look for portals. And we're going to discuss the attributes of portals, gateways, those kind of things. Kind of like in when they would go through a portal, like on Star Trek, go into warp speed, and now all of a sudden we've got Operation Warp Speed, and we've got Stargate AI that's our government is doing. I mean, it's like crazy. So you can see this is OpenAI's logo that does the Chat GPT thing. This is their logo, and of course, they're showing you a Taurus. The image that you're looking at there is a Taurus, and it's a spinning object that is inside of water and fire. Okay, there's an electrical, plasmatic, or fire component, and there's water component as well. But we're going to be talking about all that, because we all actually have portals all over our bodies. It's just that you didn't realize what it was yet, but you're going to today. So let's see here. What else? I've got the slideshow I'm getting ready to show you here in just a moment. Let me show you something that comes from, it's a clip from the Stargate movie series. You know, I guess most of you probably remember that. And of course, in Stargate, they had this portal that they built, right? And most of you will remember that they're one of the main symbols that they used is this symbol right here that you can see in the center of the screen, and they called it the Earth symbol, the Stargate Earth symbol. And now this same symbol and other versions of it are being used by companies and our government as well, related to Stargate AI. And I kind of find that fascinating and interesting. And I want to show you too, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to kind of show this scene right here. I'm going to keep it short, but I'm going to see if I can play it. Okay. So here you have this round gateway, this oval gateway, of course, right? And they open the portal and the water bursts forth. The water breaks. Okay. And then it with a portal, you're going to have one of a couple of things going on. Something can come through, or something can go through, or both. Something can pass through it. Something can come through it. Gordy Rose, not that I'm promoting Gordy Rose because I'm not, but he was one of the main characters out there talking about this stuff, and he made the statement reference to CERN is that they were talking about opening a portal, and he said something might come out or something might go through, or we might send something through or something may come out. And now think about what I just said about this image right here of the water breaking. See all the high electricity and everything. Let's use the word current. Okay, the word current. You see the vortex? The spinning vortex, of course, and the water breaking. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about it from a nature standpoint, and our bodies that we're here in these vessels. And I say vessel because we live in the water, whether you believe it or not. It's a state of water. Air is a vapor state of water. You understand? The fish fly in the ocean. They have fins, which are wings, which are made very much like wings, but there's a different buoyancy to the water in the oceans. Where the water in the air water, or what we call the air, is a different state of water. Okay, and there's different kinds of elements mixed in, but you're still in the water. So when I say we're a vessel and we travel and move through the water, we are. And looks like Roxy had to run for a minute, and I know she told me she would, and she'll be right back here in a few minutes, I think. So now let's see what we got here. I said, comprehend and copy nature. You will gain the knowledge promised in the Garden of Eden. So let's talk about the garden for a second. Biblical garden. In the garden, you had a man and a woman, of course. And what I'm going to try to do is help you understand and be able to see what the garden looks like. Okay. There was a tree in the midst of the garden. Okay. And the midst means the middle, but it was in the garden. The tree, or the phallic, was in the garden. Okay. And the garden, and let's talk about the garden itself. The garden itself, there are attributes that a garden has, right? A garden is what? Somewhere where something grows or comes through or produces, right? You go out there, you take seeds, you make a indentation, a hole or whatever in the garden. You plant the seeds, and then you ultimately something comes through. You get fruit, right? You get whatever it is that you plant, and whatever kind of seed you plant. And when it comes to the human body and our reproductive systems, especially, well, the man and the woman are both involved, but our bodies have these portals all over them, okay? And a woman's body is in the image of the garden as well. And it has the attributes of a garden. And that garden is also a portal, okay? Where something can go in or something can come out. In the case of reproduction for human bodies, we all know that the phallic symbol goes into the female body. It plants a seed in there, right? And then something grows from that seed. And then so something goes into the garden, seeds planted, and then you have something come out of the garden, which is new life. But there's many things, but there's some things that take place. Well, at birth, the water breaks. At inception, there's something that takes place. And that is that when the sperm meets the egg and it penetrates, the egg produces a spark. This is a fact. You can look it up on YouTube. When the egg is fertilized, it sparks like a plasmatic spark. Okay? Like you were just seeing in that scene, very similar. Because every little bit of the scenes that they put in those shows and those movies is intentional to put the truth right in front of you, yet change the look of it so you can't quite tell what it is they're trying to show you. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you. And so that you can further understand your own bodies and the nature of this world that we live in. You notice I said world. It's because it's spelled WHIRLED. We live in the world. Okay? We live in the world. They changed the spelling of it to throw us off, but yet still pronounce it the same way. We live in the world. We live in a Taurus is what we live inside of. Now, how that is all set up and functions, I can explain some of it, but can I explain every little detail? No, I cannot. So let's look at the attributes of mainly the female, but also the male body and the female body. You may or may not know that the way sperm is created is that inside of the male testicles, there are little, it looks like a berry off of a blueberry, not a blueberry bush, a briarberry, or what's some of the names of the kind of berries that have all the little clusters of berries?
Raspberry.
Raspberry. There you go. Let's pull up a raspberry, for instance. Raspberry. Okay. So the male part inside of all men has a place inside of the testicle that has something that looks almost identical to this, one of these berries. He has one of these berries in each one of his berries, if you get me. And yeah, we'll get to that. And what happens is each one of these little, we'll call them follicles, okay? And I realize that follicles are related to female as well, but we'll call them that for lack of better words at the moment. each one of these throughout the day and throughout the week, the month, the year, his lifetime, each one of the little small berries inside of this big berry will come down a tube. Okay, it flows down a tube upon a current. Okay, a flow of liquid. There are other obvious names I could call it, but we'll just say a flow of liquid current. And that berry will start separating and dividing itself. It divides, I think it's something like, it's a large number. And I just can't remember, I did all the research, but it divides many times. And then each one of those little divisions ultimately turn into a human sperm. Okay. The human sperm looks like, and some of the things I'm going to explain, I don't have an answer to as to why it is like this for sure. But each one of those little sperms look just like, very much like look very much like, well, kind of like that, right? And it's very similar to what you would associate with the look of a serpent, right? Right. Now, why that is, we're seeking, we're looking, but they all turn into little sperms. So you have your berries that produce berries, and they divide and they turn into the sperm. And when the sperm goes to the egg, the ovum, it then fertilizes. You have a burst of energy. That spark is when the spirit or the essence of the soul crosses the veil upon that spark. Just like we've seen when the gateway opened in here. When the gateway opened, they had electricity flying everywhere, didn't they? There was a moment of let me think the word I'm looking for. Our world exists within a Taurus field, yes. We exist in the eye of that Taurus field. Just trying to answer a question or two, but I have to kind of keep my mind going on this direction or I'll get lost. I'm sure you understand. So just as when this all takes place, there's a huge rush of energy. Okay. Just as when the sexual act is taking place, there is a climax, a huge burst of energy. It's part of the process of how all this works. And this is why, when it comes to the female anatomy, that the clitoris is named a clitoris. The words cli for climax, or to climb, or to rise, and the word max, of course, or Taurus, clitoris. The Taurus is referring to the storm. Okay, it's referring to the storm, as you can see here. And like I said, hopefully everybody here is adults, okay, or grown-ups, as Roxy said. These, and if we further go on to look at things and compare them to our bodies, like for instance, you've got the apple. Here's an image of an apple. You can see the female body in this as well. And actually the male body as well. But here you see this curve. You can obviously easily associate that curve with a woman's body. And this area in the middle of the apple, the eye of the apple of my eye, in the middle of the apple is where the seed or the ovums or the eggs, the reproductive part. The rest of it, the flesh of the apple, is just to be appealing and beautiful and to get us to participate in biting the apple, you might say. And you can obviously see that this is something in nature that repeats in all types of things. Most types of fruits will have this same kind of an image, like a peach. You look at a peach, you can easily imagine in your mind a woman, a garden. Can you not? Now, let's look a little closer at the attributes of that garden that we're talking about. And we're going to be very specific here. The garden, when we're comparing it to a gateway, a portal, or the Garden of Eden, there are things in the Garden of Eden, right? There was a tree in the midst of the garden. There was something that had a look of a serpent. There was, of course, the essence of a man and a woman there. But in the garden itself, there were, for sure, fig trees, right? Let's pull up a fig. Or maybe this one would be better. So like the fig, I would imagine that the inside of the testicle looks very much like that, as well as the inside of a ovary. Okay. And then of course you have the fig leaves as well. But we know that there was foliage in the garden. There were things that were growing. There was a covering for the garden. And I'll explain what I mean in just a second. If you think about just one second, I'm looking for another image. But if you think about comparing this Garden of Eden or gateway or portal, and you compare it to the male and the female body, but let's focus on the female body for a second. She has the gateway on her, right? The female body has the gateway on it. It has, of course, the vagina. And there's a number of things going on there, of course, right? One, we all know that her garden has foliage around it. It has a covering, okay? Typically things that are a gateway will have some form of covering around it. Now, they didn't demonstrate that very well in the Stargate imagery there, but they demonstrated a lot of the information. And what I'm referring to, of course, I'm referring to pubic hair. That is something that if you're thinking about gardens, portals, gateways, reproduction, you're going to see that in order for a portal to exist, you tend to have that. The other thing you have typically are two mounds, or at least two mounds, but probably two mounds. Two mounds. Now, what could mounds be when it comes to the female body And all of this takes very different types of, takes on various different images, you see, because it's not always exactly the same. It's in the image of, it's likeness of, it's similar to. Okay. It has similar attributes to. Okay. So when you are looking at the hip area of a woman's body, you have two mountains, you have two buttocks. Okay. And you can look in nature, and you can look in even in the imagery of, let's do this Stargate logo. Let me put in SG1, I think it was called. Looking for some specific images that I've seen before. That way it's maybe a little bit more visual to understand. Where you at? I'm looking for not the logo, I'm looking for the portal. Looking for the portal. Okay. Let me see if I can see what these mountains are. They're not talking about mounds, buttocks, mountains. I'm talking about it's like having, how do I put this into words? And where is the image I'm looking for? Why are you being so hard to find today? This one's close, but this one's not it. Okay. Some of the images where they show Stargate, they'll show that it sits in between mountains. Let me see if I just type in mountains, that it will bring it up. See, like this image is in the mountains, but it's not showing it the way that I've seen it, the way they've put it out before. Okay, here's an example. See, it doesn't have to be mountains. Okay, apparently that's not working. Doesn't have to be mountains, but what they're doing is they're showing two phallic symbols or two horns or two Tauruses in association with this image of the gateway, right? But I know there's some better imagery out there. Well, what these things have to do, it has to do with creating the necessary attributes in order to, like for instance, the garden there were supposedly two trees in the garden, right? These are two tall, toroidal in nature, which is a tree is very toroidal in nature. It has the center and everything that grows out from it. And the roots below are in the image of the tree that is above, or very similar to it. So you have 2 points, point in opposite directions, positive and negative. But you have this image of like a Taurus or two mountains. If that's making sense to you, I hope so. And I sure wish I could find a proper image here. This is kind of close, but this is kind of close. It's still not exactly what I'm looking for. Well, let me just keep trying to explain. And I've got a bunch of images saved in this slideshow that may actually show this. I haven't been back through this in a while. This is a good example, though. Let me show you. Okay, you're familiar with a hurricane. Okay, you know the hurricane has an eye. The hurricane is a spinning torus that is in the image of an apple, but it's actually two apples. It has two toroidal things. There's what's called a lower pressure eye and an upper level low pressure eye. And when a storm, a hurricane first starts forming, it will start forming. Everything starts to swirl, but until that upper level low that will be off to the northeast, at least in the hemisphere I live in, it will be off from it, and then two of it comes on top and stacks. So then you have two apples stacked on top of each other, like what you're looking at here. Until that happens, you do not have the storm does not have enough organizational strength in order to produce like a Cat 5 hurricane, where it has lots of power, lots of creative and destructive strength. You see? Creation and destruction is just a mirror image of itself. So in order to get a true portal set up, you have to have this. Okay. Just seen that. Let me see if I can catch it where it's. You see how it created this toroidal image on one side, and then it goes to the other side. So there are your two Tauruses, your two mountains, your two buttocks. Do you understand yet? And there will be a great charge of electricity, a climax, in order for this machine to work, because this is a mechanical technology forbidden fruit version of the garden or the portal or the place that brings forth something. Okay. Yeah, Fibonacci spirals, Bob. Exactly. Fibonacci spirals is built into everything, including our bodies, of course. Okay. Let me see. I'll look at the comments for a second. Cindy says, you're kind of changing the subject slightly, but you said, hi, Daniel. My question is, have you ever seen ghosts or orb entities? I have even saw my animals that have passed playing on my bed. Oh, yeah, I definitely have. I'm not going to get into depth on answering that question, or I'll get off topic here. But I definitely have, and I had a cat one time that got run over by a car, and the cat would always come jump up on the bed with me and lay between my legs when I would sleep. And this cat got killed by the car, and it was like that night or the next night, right in there close, where the cat came up and jumped up, the dead cat I couldn't see, came up and jumped on the bed and laid in between my legs, and I felt it when it jumped up like it normally does and laid down in between my legs. And I've seen apparitions and ghosts many times. I have a gift of blindness in my left eye, but actually it's not blindness. What it is that I only have peripheral vision in my left eye. You know how people always say, I've seen it out the corner of my eye. And then when they go to look at it, it's gone. It's because your peripheral vision is unique in its ability to see across the veil. That's why if you ever see anything going on like that, you don't want to turn and look at it unless you have a gifted eye like I do. You don't want to turn and look. You want to stay looking at what you're looking at, but look at it with your peripheral vision. With me, my whole left eye is all peripheral vision, so I can go to a graveyard, close my right eye, and see things that other people can't see. So yeah, and definitely the eye is part of this subject matter today, and it may be tied in even more, but let's go back to the subject. So look at this woman's eye, okay? You notice that it has very much a toroidal look to it. It has a pupil, which is the eye of the storm, and it has the iris around it, and then it has this vesica Pisces shape, okay, kind of like the shape that is in between, in the middle of an apple, or the image of a woman's body, okay. So you have this vesica Pisces here, and what do you have sitting in the middle of the vesica Pisces? You have a portal. On a woman's body, what does she have sitting in the middle of her vesica Pisces? She has a portal. What else do we see? Is there flow of water? Is there any current? Does the eye produce water? Yes, it does. Does the woman's reproductive area reproduce water? Yes, it does, especially when there is a high energy event that is produced by stimulation of the clitoris, the Taurus again. Okay. What else is there here that we can see? We can see that the eye has foliage around it. You see, there's foliage around the garden again. See all the eyelashes on the top, on the bottom, even an eyebrow. So you have foliage around the garden. You have water flow or current, and of course you have the portal in the middle where something goes in or something comes out. And in the eye's case, as far as we know, there's something that mainly goes in. Is there the possibility that we're able to project as well with our eyes? I think there may be. Just looking at the comments just a little bit. I don't have as much help here today. Are you watching the comments?
Yep.
All right. Now, let's keep going here. Let's look at my face. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to make myself bigger. It's going to hurt you mainly. Let's look at my face. Here's a portal. Portal's here, of course. Portal's here. Portal's here. And you notice with the eyes too, that there are two. Well, there's two again. Two mountains. Two Tauruses. This obviously looks like the eye of a storm, the eye of a hurricane, which is definitely a Taurus, and so is this. Right? But look at my mouth. Look at the foliage around that garden, around the portal. Something can come in, I can eat. Something can come out, I can speak. And in this case, what comes out, our speech, is supernatural in nature. And I've explained this kind of before to y'all guys, so I'm not going to go way down that, explain it. Yeah, eyes are the windows, right? Kind of like how Microsoft chose to call their browser Windows, right? The operating system and everything. It's windows. Something can go through that you end up seeing, or something can come out, or something can come out that you end up seeing, or something can go through. Just like I'm using this technological portal in order to speak to you today through a thing called Windows. Yeah. But my mouth, it has a large amount of foliage around it, as you can see. And so does my head, as you can see. The hair has a purpose. It's not just for warmth or for looks. Every hair on your head is connected to a electrical circuit. You ever heard the phrase, that made the hair on my head stand up? Or made the hair on my neck stand up? High energy, you can feel it. Whoa. Or, ah. Or, ah. Right? Makes your hair stand up. And why would your hair stand up if there was a dangerous situation? Because it's antennae that's it's assessing the garden to see what's really going on here. It's like antennae. Okay. But you'll always find foliage around a portal. Sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's a lot. It comes in various different looks. Now, let's look at two more mountains. Let's find two more mountains. And of course, let me point this out, that the mouth is also a Vesica Pisces. And it has wings. Lips. If I turn it on this side, you got a Vesica Pisces with wings, lips. If we look at the female anatomy, you'll find the same thing. If you look at the Ark of the Covenant, which was a portal, was there not two cherubims with wings on each side? A set of wings on that side and a set of wings on this side? Was there not? Well, look at your comments here for a second. Thank you, Renee Redmond. I appreciate your compliment and your kind words. And I hope y'all guys are understanding. Yeah, the orbs are traveling in the image of our world. They travel inside of a Taurus. That's why they're round. The energy is flowing just like a hurricane. Oh, one hip chick. I remember from the show the other day, and I forgot it, that you wanted to speak to me or something. You have my cell phone number, I'm pretty sure. If not, you should know how to get, you can always get a hold of me at this number by texting. That number is for texting only. Or you couldn't call this number as well. And no, don't call that number to be on the show. I need to edit that. To be on the show with me, you can come on right now, even if you wanted to join me. If you want to join this discussion, maybe you have something to add or a different way of looking at it, or maybe you don't agree. The link's below. And I've also put the link in the comments as well. I'm dropping it right now again. So there it is again. Yeah, I'm like Grizzly Adams, right? Okay, so portals. Portals. Two mountains. So what do we have? Let's look at some of the attributes that we've learned so far of a portal, of a gateway. High electricity. Two mountains. Two trees. 2 Tauruses, 2 buttocks. You have to have current, a flow of current. That flow of current can come in one of many ways. It can come in the flow of water. Does a woman's reproductive system have a flow of water or a breaking of water? Or does it also have a flow of water that's there on a regular basis, like a stream between 2 mountains? If you have, like me, been paying attention long enough and had any understanding of the things that I'm talking about here, you would know that in nature, people talk about portals happening and existing. And typically these reports of these shimmering portal-like things will take place in a place that's mountainous and near a flow of water, a current. And of course, there will be plenty of foliage around as well. So let's look some more at the body, human body. And then maybe we'll turn to nature as well. Let's look at the human body. Let's look at it again. This is an image of what I was telling you earlier about the tree, how the top of the tree is very similar to the bottom of the tree, the root system. And altogether, what it is it's producing an energy flow, a current, just like a mountain would, or many other things that are in this image. And you may or you may not know that you can go out if you have an ohm meter. You can go out, but you're going to have to go out on a tree, a good large tree, especially in the summertime when it's full of foliage and it's in the midst of growth. You can go and you can take and put a small nail into one side of the tree and a small nail into the other side of the tree. Take your ohm meter and put the one lead on one side, one lead on the other side, and it'll produce a current enough to run LED lights for sure. Don't know if y'all guys knew that. I don't know if I've ever shared that before. But yeah, trees, mountains, toroidal things that are in the image of, they produce a current. One hip chick, yes, I have the number. I'm currently getting ready to go out the door, but would love to be on the show. I will text you. Thank you so much. I'll be looking. Yeah, I want to talk to you. So please do get a hold of me. And yeah, of course, I remember the hip chick. You were live with us during the Supernatural Show, live show for the April 8th eclipse. And I remember saying to you, you are one hip chick. Yeah. What? What does that mean for? Because of the way she acted. She acted like a hip person. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Miss Kim was telling me something. All right. So let's keep going here. If we look at the male and the female body, but it's easier to see on the female, we can find 2 more mountains, and we can find current flowing, and we can find the spark. Let's look at the chest area. I don't think I have a slide necessarily of that. I don't think. Not exactly. But let's talk about it. So let me see if this works. Yeah, that works. Put y'all guys a big screen. If we look at the chest area and we're looking for attributes of a portal. Okay. Of course, you have a man's pecs or a woman's breasts. And do they look like a portal? Do they have something that looks like the image of the eye? I'm sure I don't happen to have that in here, do I? I'll share this presentation with y'all guys as well. I'll just leave that up there for the moment. Oh, y'all guys can't see that either, can you? Because I got y'all guys up here. Anyways, let's look at the chest. We have two mountains. We call them breasts or crests, but breasts. And we all know that there's the areola, just like the iris. The breast has an areola, and then where the pupil is at, it has the nipple. Okay. And of course, that sits atop a mound. And for men, there is a lot of foliage, some men more than others, that grows around the areola. But no hair grows on the areola. It's just around the edge, or either on the chest in general. And for a woman as well, some women have fuzz, or some even more, okay, that's around it. So you have the foliage again around the edge of the garden. And what's in the midst of the garden? A tree, a portal. And if you look at the milk glands of a breast, let me see if I can get an image. I'll share it with y'all guys. Okay, let's see. Which one we want to use here? And of course, for a portal, you have to have something that goes into or comes out of in order for it to be qualified as a portal. And in this case, it's milk, of course, is what comes out of this portal. Trying to check the comments just a little bit. Yeah, the Matrix, Jamila, the Matrix. Just checking your comments here a little bit if I can. Okay, so I'm trying to find a decent image. Most all of these really work, but we'll just use this one because it don't matter. So you have the two mountains in the middle. I mean, on each side, right? And I said that there was a current flowing and a spark. See, right behind the breast and right between the breasts, you're going to have the human heart. It works off of a continuous rhythmic spark, 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 spark. And what is flowing there? What is the current? It's the blood of life. It's flowing there and feeding your entire body. It's flowing from there. So I think if you've been listening from the beginning, if you have not, you should go back to the beginning and listen to this from the beginning, because there are great, at least I believe, this is great knowledge to have, because it allows you to see many other things. Many other things. You see, take a look at this. Okay, nobody freak out. What I'm looking at here, or trying to look at really, is, let's look at this right here. Remember how I talked about what a male's testicles look like inside, where the sperm is produced? It looks like a raspberry, remember? See there? And each one of these little nodules will break loose and start dividing and splitting, and produces a lot of sperm. With a woman's breast, you have all those same nodules as well. And as you can see on the right, they produce what ultimately turns into milk, but it works in a very similar way. And then that milk flows out of the glands and is produced into this world, giving life, nourishment to the child. So you can, as I've shown here, you can look at the entire human body. And then now with this knowledge, you can turn and you can look at the world differently, can't you? You can look at the trees differently. You can look at the streams differently. You can look at the mountains differently, everything differently. You should be able to see better now. Let's see here. Let me check the comments again. And I tried to do a question and answer thing on the YouTube comments, but it didn't seem to be working or something. So we'll not worry about that. I'm going to go through some more of these images and see if I see something that really catches my attention. Probably have the same scene pulled up right there, embedded into this. All right, come on. Okay, there's that symbol again, isn't it? I'm glad you got something from that, Tara. I'm glad, because when I first started talking about this kind of stuff, a lot of people didn't want me to talk about it. They didn't. I don't know why, really. But people need to understand, just as our bodies are in the image of these things, these portals, these gateways, so is heaven above. So you now have the knowledge to be able to understand in your mind even what an image of what heaven may look like, as well as what our true nature of our world that we live in. People want to argue over whether it's round or flat. That's not the argument. We exist in a realm. We exist in the eye. You see, where does the milk flow from? The eye. Where does the light pass through? Well, where does the milk flow through? The eye of the breast, the nipple. Where does the light shine through with the eye? The pupil, the center. Where does the reproduction and when it comes to reproduction of a child, where does it come out of? The center, the midst of the garden. God made us in his image. So now you can go and you can look in the mirror and look at your eye and know that you're looking at the image of God. You can look at other parts of your body. This is why this understanding is taking a long time, and there's a lot more to it. But this understanding, once it came to me, I no longer looked at a woman's body the same anymore. Not with the lust feeling, or not with the, you know what I'm talking about, right? I know you guys know what I'm talking about, and you girls know too. But you got to realize when you're looking at a woman, you're looking at the garden. And should we be lusting all over the garden? I don't feel that way anymore. I look at a woman's body with amazement. And of course, it's beautiful. That's to be seen by all. No one is blind, that women aren't incredibly beautiful God-made creations. Another thing, if you take just kind of not really off subject, but face to face. Let's see if this brings me up. Yeah, this wouldn't work. Show you the Taurus again, or should I say the two Tauruses that create. Okay, you see, now we know this looks like two people looking at each other face to face, but if you look at the white, don't look at the black, just look at the white, you have the eye of the storm down through the middle here. And it takes the male and the female in order to create this image. You have basically a tornado or the storm, like a hurricane. You can see that in the image of people looking at each other. Hope you understand that. All right, back to this. Let's look. This will definitely get me copyrighted if I play much of that. Let me see if there's a part that I can just go to or something. This is a scene that I found when I was, thinking about all this subject matter, and it looks like little worlds floating around out there. It looks like orbs, like angels. You see, because that's what the orbs are. They're entities, angelic, supernatural, interdimensional, and when they enter into this world, they produce a spark before they cross the veil where we can see them. They spark and then light up. Spark and then light up. I know some of you have heard me describe that before. Let's see if there's any imagery here that I maybe would want you to see or not specifically. If it'll load. Yeah, I'm not going to play it. I will share this file with y'all guys. Matter of fact, well, I don't want to close it out right this second, so I'm going to wait. Come on. Update here. Some of you guys will remember me talking about a tornado and how, like, for instance, let's say this is a tornado here. Of course, this is the eye of the storm, the center of the Taurus, and it's spinning. You will remember that I said it creates its own a tornado will create its own gravitational field. So when you see videos, like, matter of fact, in the opening video for the Supernatural Show, it shows a tornado with these things lifting up off the ground. It's like cars or something, but they're floating straight up. they're not being slung, it's because this is where what we call gravity comes from. It's from the spinning of the two arcs, the two Tauruses, the two mountains, the two cherubim angels on each side of the portal. You see? You have there's a reason why they call it the Arctic and the Antarctic, meaning the opposite of, or meaning the other mountain. You see? And no, we're not talking about whether it's round or flat, because neither matters. What matters is understanding that we live in the eye of a Taurus. We live in the eye. We may even, honestly, and I'm not going to say this profoundly, but we may even live on the eye of God himself, in the eye, on the pupil. Because, well, we are the students. We are the pupils. We are the disciples. Let's see here. This is something Christ said. His students said, "When will you appear to us, and when shall we see you?" Yeshua said, "When you strip naked without being ashamed, and take your clothes and put them under your feet like small children and trample them, then you will see the child of the living one, and you will not be afraid." In this show, I've given you the ability to not be ashamed, because you now know that you are in the true image of God. You now know things that will break the shame and the lust out of you. You now have enough information to send you down that path, so that you will no longer be lustful or shameful when it comes to your body. Where's that verse? You can, let me see if I happen to, you'd have, just Google it. I can't remember the verse number and everything. It'd be easy enough to find, right? So, it says, Genesis 1:27, God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Genesis 9:6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall be his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. And of course, we've been talking about the Vesica Pisces and the two mountains. You have the two mountains, or the two buttocks, or the two mounds, the two trees, the two, all the different words we can use to try to describe them. And you have the Vesica Pisces in the middle, and we've talked about that being the portal spot in between. Kind of like the logo of the MasterCard. The Master card. And if you look at the Mother Mary thing, okay, of course, when it comes to the Catholics, their basilicas are built in the image of a woman laying on her back with her feet in the air. And the front door is a Vesica Pisces right between her legs that you enter. And their Mother Mary statue or imagery or idolatry is a Vesica Pisces with a woman with flowing clothes. As you can see, it's just like the image of a vagina. Don't blame me. It just is what it is. It's been a while since I put some of these images in here, so I'm trying to recall. One thing you will notice, though, is that the bone that runs around the eye socket, remember I told you that the eye is a Taurus. It's a gateway. Well, they did name the eyebrow, the bone right here below the eyebrow. They named it the supraorbital Taurus. And that has a lot to do with a lot of things. But one, of course, the eyes, they move, they spin, they turn, they tour. They tour around, they look around, they go, they do things, they look at different ways, different places. They tour. And they are you could call them a lot of things. You could call them the students, the pupils that are here to learn. But they will lie to you. This is, let me see here. This is on I think I actually have a version of it on YouTube as well, on for sure the Logic Before Authority channel, I imagine. This is a documentary that shows you a bunch of different footage of angels that I put together. It's been about 8 years ago, or 7 or 8 years ago, I put this documentary together. And it's called UFOs, Orbs, and Lights in the Heavens. And it's on BitChute. I think it's on Rumble, and it's on YouTube, I believe. And it's pretty awesome. And now, 8 years later, people are finally looking up and seeing the angels. They're calling them aliens. They're calling them orbs. Orb is just a descriptive word of an attribute meaning round, like the orbital socket for the eye, or the eye itself, of course. And of course, they would be in that image because everything else that is a portal or has the ability to portal is in that orbital, toroidal image, isn't it? So let's go to the next page. And of course, that says so many things. I talked about Peter Pan and Tinkerbell in my video the other day. And of course, Tinkerbell is kind of in the image of, but is not. But she has attributes in her behaviors and everything of an angel. Obviously, she is not, and Walt Disney is a corrupt organization. That's using the nicest words I can think of. But you see all the pixie dust, the sparks, and then that big spark, bing, bing. We've talked about all of that today. Of course, if you go and you look at the logos of any of these big production companies and stuff, you'll find all the things we've talked about today. You'll find the world, you'll find the mountains, you'll find the gateways, the circle gateways, with something of great power sitting inside of it, crossing through it. And in the image of over here, all these images, they're telling you right in your face what I'm telling you, but they just don't tell you. And they don't give you all the information. And then they deceive you within their magic movies that they do. Yeah, I certainly am glad you're all here, Stacy. I'm glad you're all here. Got some news to share with y'all guys too here in just a minute. You may remember this from the I Pick Goat video that's out there, where it shows, what it's showing is the biblical account of the of the dragon coming forth is spewing fire into the water, comes forth as fire and comes through the windows, across dimensions, and the whole, I'm going to do one day, I'm going to do a complete decode of iPetGoat from beginning to end, because I have 95% of it completely down. And it's basically all biblical, down to the words and descriptions. I'll do that here soon. You see, if you start looking at these images, like this image here, very much, with the knowledge that I've given you, you can start to understand more about what you're looking at. Can't you? Here's another one. Start understanding more about what you're looking at. You think about every detail of what you're seeing, and you start to learn some things. All right, screen, come on. Let's see what this is. I can't recall exactly. Oh, yeah. I'll let that play. And what do we have? Looks like we have a river running through, right? Did I decode iPad 3? No, I might. I've looked at it, but see, iPad 2 is showing 9/11/2. It depicts symbolism and attributes of one, and then it shows you 9/11/2. That's actually what iPetGoat 2 means. iPetGoat is basically 9/11/1, but then they throw the 2 on it and it's 2. And to get into, I'd have to go a whole nother direction to explain that right now. So we got a river with current running through it. We've got a phallic symbol or some mountains in the background. And I'm pausing it because I really don't want to get a copyright strike and let Disney get the $3 I'm going to make off of this live stream. And of course, then they throw in the dome imagery, the spark imagery, the electricity, the current, and all sitting on the water. And then you got a gateway right in the center between all these pillars that are sticking up, or the trees, or whatever you want to call them, with a gateway with a gate on it in the very middle. You can't see my mouse very good, but it's all there. So let's go down a little bit further. This slideshow that I'm showing you some images from, it's got like 450 slides in it. So we're not going to get to. All right, why are you not? Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see where I want to take this now, because I've described to you a lot about the attributes of portals, the way to be able to see them on yourself, the things when they're moving forward right now with this Stargate AI. Isn't that what they call it? Stargate AI, I think it is. Yeah, Stargate AI. When they're moving forward with this, we should, with the knowledge that I've given you today, you're going to have a set of eyes that you did not have before. And we should be able to see and understand more about what they're truly up to with their warp speed and their Stargate AI. And I can guarantee you there's someone here that is still a believer in politics and don't understand that it's a double-headed eagle with two wings. But it's one bird. Anyways, yeah, I would say exactly. So that's why I can't speak too openly and direct about it. But we've seen already that they've tried to cross the barrier and get into us. I mean, what are they putting into us? You know, it has to do with putting man and woman back together again. It has to do with living forever and being as God is what they're up to doing. And but we'll get into all that in detail, but we might have to do it on an episode of Beyond the Veil, which would be not live here on YouTube and Facebook, that's for sure, or Instagram. Might get away with it on Rumble and on my website, of course, but not here. All right, let's see here. See if there's so much to share here. This is simply, I've said this a number of times, most of you have heard it, about the tabernacle. You are the tabernacle. You are the temple. And the temple, Solomon's temple, and the tabernacle that Moses built, they were all built in the image of God. But they were also built in the image of man, as you can see right here. Temple as a body, body as a temple. Here's your temple right here. Here's your two mountains, Jachin and Boaz, that lead up to the two buttocks, right? And then the head is where, of course, the ark is at, the Ark of the Covenant, the ethics bone, the ethoid bone, which looks and is in the image of a ship traveling through the waters. And I've shown that before too. But let's see here. If I can pull it real quick, I'll share it real briefly. If I can find it. Here we go. All right, come on. The ethics, where the laws are at, in the Ark of the Covenant, in between the two angels, or the cherubim with the wings. I've described all this today. And there's your ethoid bone. There's your boat. There's your vessel. And it's called the ethics, or the ethoid bone. It's a bone that sits right between your eyes, right here. It's very small, and it's in the image of the Ark of Noah's Ark, as you can see. It's also in the image of the crucifixion with a veil hanging on it. Got a piece of fabric on the right, piece of fabric on the left, and the cross, the crucifix, of course. And if you have any doubt, all you have to do is realize that they call the center cross, where Christ's head would have been on the cross, they call it the Christ Galley. Crystal Galley right here. For Christ exists within you. Within your temple, your tabernacle, which is right here in the Holy of Holies, which is your head, and right between your eyes is where your ark is at. You could say it's where also your spark is at, where your life is at, where the fire burns, and something that looks like a pine cone that's called a pineal gland. Lots here. Let me see if I can come out of here, hit share, see if I can get y'all guys a link to this. Anyone with a link? Oh, I'm logged into the wrong account. Ugh, dang it. I can't. So I'll have to. This is on the website, actually, on the Supernatural Show website. And it goes on, like I said, we're only on slide 56 right here, and there's like 450 to 500 slides on here with me working this stuff in my mind and coming to understand it and looking at our world, looking at us, looking at everything. So, any thoughts, guys? Any questions? I'm looking in the comments right now, and we'll be here for a few moments. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I see Carla did ask a question here. She said, who else started to have weird stuff that was the year of Revelation 12 sign in the sky? It was 2017, I think it was, right? And I think it's meaning the weird stuff. I'm not quite sure, Carla, what you're saying there. You said, I don't know how I have lots of stuff. Maybe you were already having a conversation probably with some of the other guys in there. That's why I probably don't understand. Yeah, September 23rd, 2017. I think that's right. Yeah. Was it September 23rd? Hang on. There's a reason why I find that interesting. Yes, it was. And I know y'all guys, a lot of you guys, and I've covered it a lot, talking about September 23rd and how important that date is, especially to them. Okay, well, we remember it as the Revelation 12 sign. This image here is pretty good for kind of giving you a quick overview of it. This is where symbolically in the heavens, Jupiter passed into and through the womb for 9 months or 42 weeks, basically, and then came out between Virgo's legs symbolically in the heavens. And there's tons of detail to it, which of course is tied to what we're talking about. See, everything that happens here is also happens in the heavens. It's in the image. It's like a mirror thing. It just is different. You know, it's in a different image, in a different way, with different attributes, maybe a little bit. Looking at the comments again. Oh, you guys can't see that screen. It'd help if I shared it. About the ancient technology they found under the Panama Canal that woke up. I haven't heard about that, Carla. If you'll If you'll text me a link to it, I'll look into it. You can text me a link to this number, and I'll look into it. And so I have no information on what you're talking about, but that I can say I remember when that ship was stuck in the canal. Remember? A few years ago, the ship got stuck in the Panama Canal, and I couldn't help but think of a breached berth. Symbolically, of course. I couldn't help but see it that way. And I knew it meant something, and I knew they were doing it, but I'm still not quite sure why they did that, because, it probably has something to do with why they're now claiming they're going to take it back, right? I mean, what we're going to do? Go get it and bring it up here? I guess just control of it or whatever. But wear you out trying to figure out everything they're doing. Just know one thing for sure: they're lying to you and they're manipulating you. Doesn't matter which wing of the bird you're flying with. That's happening. Now, guys, this is for y'all got new guys here. This is the Supernatural Show. But you can go on the website if you have a story, a testimony of something that happened to you in your life. You can share it. I'll read it here on the show. Or you can text it in as well. But I really want to know the details. So sometimes it's maybe better to go to the website and submit it. And you can also be a guest, even though I think most people are just interested in listening today. But these shows are, not all of them are going to be open panel, but there's going to be a lot of open panels going on because I like it. I like when y'all guys come in here and talk with me and ask questions and teach me something, because that does happen. And but we're about to the end of the show here today, so I'm not going to, no need for anybody to join now because we're about to get out of here. And let's see here. I will share this real quick. I love talking about this stuff. Remember the eclipse, April 8th, right? Last April 8th. The sun and the moon came together, and what happened? A spark. A few of you will remember that I predicted that before it ever happened. I said that when the moon, the feminine energy, and the sun, the masculine energy, come together, there's the potential for it to create a very large spark. And what we have, the largest solar flare in recorded history, where you could see the current of that energy flowing all over the world. It presented itself as colors and lights in the sky, and it produced a spark, a very large spark. A solar eclipse is called a celestial climax. That is the name for it. If you've been here watching this whole show, or most of it, you know why I'm just using those words. And you understand it as well. You see, the solar eclipse is what the diamond ring was made off of. Masculine and feminine coming together and creating a spark. That spark symbolically is the diamond on a diamond ring. It means the creation of something new, or the crossing over of something from one place to another. Something coming in, something coming out. And they even call the spark the diamond on an eclipse, like you're seeing in that image there. And we also know that the background of our show here is the full solar halo, which the sun is the pupil of that eye, isn't it? you should know what I'm talking about. And I think I could really give an extensive class on this with all the stuff I have put together here. See, there's your eclipse. I've superimposed over it in the middle there. Got the two cherubims, two angels, one on each side, and you got the gateway or the veil right in between where God shows himself. That's the portal in the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Law, the Ark of the Ethics. And you have this right on your face. You have the two eyes, the two mountains, the two hills that have wings on them, your eyelids. And you have, right in between, you have the ethoid bone with the crystal gala on it, which is in the image of a box. Or a ship. You can even see the sails on the ship or the veil on the cross. This is a good example of how things take on many images. You have the rudder of the ship, the galley of the ship, the portals of the ship. Everything's all there and it all exists within you. You have the Ark of the Covenant that exists in you, in the Holy of Holies, which is your head. Guys, please share this information, this video, as many places as you can. I put a tremendous amount of effort into the work I do. And to be honest with you, I get very little reward for it. I asked yesterday if y'all guys, I want to go out and do some feeding of the people using what I started as called Roadrunner's Kitchen. Okay. And where I'm going to go, and I'm going to go do it one way or another, either way or another. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go feed the homeless. And no, I'm not going to make a bunch of videos trying to get crying dollars to be sent in to me. But it is something because these people are people that are not, they're human beings. They're children of God. But they're in a pit. They've been caught in a bear trap. And they cannot free themselves. They can only be freed from without, for the most part. And I want to minister to these people, but I need some help with that, to be able to do that, as well as doing the work that I do in general. And I asked for y'all guys to consider donating to that. And all I got was 2 donations out of thousands of people watching. I got 2 donations. I also created a new Roadrunner's Kitchen YouTube channel where I'm going to be putting all the information on there about that ministry of going out to the people and meeting them, giving them something to eat that's hot, freshly cooked. I showed you all the stuff that I've already prepared. It's on the Logic Before Authority channel, the video I'm referring to. All the food carrier plates and everything that I've already all bought. All the insulated bags, all the everything. I'm all ready to go, but I need to be able to acquire food, gas, light, money to be able to cook it, things to be able to do this. And I'm going to do all of it. And all I did was ask for $1. And I got 2 donations, which I greatly appreciate. But, I mean, do y'all guys just really don't want me to do this part of my ministry? I help the people on here, but I also can help people around me here. I know how to deal with these people. I know what they're in. I know the trap they're in. I've dealt with it. I want to see if I can't pull some of them out of it. I would assume that when I get to heaven, Father's going to think that was pretty cool. Just like I minister here and teach y'all guys things and show you things and share everything I have with you. But I still ask. You know, I realize that most of you can't donate very much. But when I'm asking for, okay, just send $1. And I have thousands of people watching. And I get 2 donations. Can nobody, I mean, is it that bad out there now that we can't afford $1 to go towards feeding homeless? Come on, guys. I love you. And I need a freezer too to be able to put some of this stuff in. Anyways, I love you. I hope y'all guys learned something from the show today. Please, at a minimum, even if you can't afford to even send $1 to help with the feeding ministry that I'm starting, you can at least share this video or give it a thumbs up. You can do that, right? All right. We're doing 5 shows 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that I'll be on. Shannon's going to be doing a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Be a little bit later in the afternoon. Roxy is going to be doing a show as well. Leave that posted up for a minute, darling. Just so they do. Phoenix, I greatly appreciate your donation towards the work that I'm doing. And I know it gets old. You know, you say, okay, well, I sent a donation. It don't work that way. It don't work where next month everything's done. I'm good. I gave my one time. Does it work that way? There's ways down below the video, like through Patreon and through the website, where you can sign up. But those are different things, Patreon and the website. Like Patreon, you can sign up to donate $1 a month. I mean, even as broke as I am, because I probably got, I don't know, less than $100 to my name. I could even donate $1 a month to something. I hope y'all guys will too. And I thank you very much, Phoenix. And, you know, there's a lot of you on here right now that already are donating. You donate through Patreon, or you donate, you're a member of the website, or you're a member of this channel. I understand. And I thank you. I'm trying to get this thing we're creating, this garden, to grow. I'm adding more shows. So we're going to be 5 days a week now. Roxy's going to start her show, and we'll either have multiple shows on the same day with 2 different hosts, or we will be 6 days a week. I'm looking to go to 7 days a week with multiple shows, multiple hosts. If you have knowledge that you would like to share and you understand and appreciate what I'm doing, maybe you have a YouTube channel already started, maybe you don't. But if you want to step up for me to consider you to be a guest host for what I'm doing and how I'm growing, I would love to hear from you. You can call me at this number. Matter of fact, somebody called me earlier today. I've got to get that number and call them back. So if you're listening, I'll be calling you back. Or you can text me at this number and express your interest. And I can't say just because you express your interest that I'm going to say, yep, you're the right match. I might not, I might can't. But Lord willing, we will. So this isn't entertainment, guys. I know it's cool learning all the interesting things and seeing the cool video content that I put up, but it's not just entertainment. That's why I say what I say at the beginning of the shows. This is not for entertainment purposes only. This is a ministry, a work, a service that I give and have been given of for 15 years. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I have suffered greatly. But that's the way it's supposed to work, I believe. And I'm okay with that. But I don't need to have the ability to go out to eat. I don't need to go to movies. I don't need to go to the malls. I don't need hardly nothing, because I'm not a materialistic man. Not anymore. I used to have all that stuff. I gave it all away. What was it? Stolen or torn away from me. Now, my focus is, because I've already lived my life. I've already killed myself about 3, 4, 5 times at least. So now my focus is on, why am I still here? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? Okay, let's do it. And I've been doing it now for 15 years. I haven't worked any other job in 15 years. Only YouTube. About 3 or 4 years of that was homeless. I don't know who that is. 903 area code. If it's one of you guys coming out of Texas, I'll call it back or text you back here in just a minute, because I am still live, as you can see. So with all that, guys, at the end of the day, I just thank you for being here. I thank you for being here. And oh my gosh, Sharon, I just noticed that Phoenix donated $20. Now this money that you're donating, I'm going to put it towards the Feed and Free program. Okay, Feed and Free our brothers and sisters. That's where it's going to go. And I'm looking for somebody out there, because I know you're out there, to step up. And you're well positioned. You know you can do it and it won't bother you. And help me get a freezer. I need a freezer. I need to be able to go buy chicken in bulk for 75 cents a pound. I need to be able to go buy pork in bulk at like $1 a pound or $1.25. I need to do it the smart way, right? So thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, Sharon. And I know there's many others here that donate on a monthly basis. And I thank you. And we will continue to do this work no matter what, one way or another. Father always makes a way. Is it always the easy way? Nope. But we will do it. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you again. Let's see, today is what? Today is Wednesday the 26th. So we'll see you again on Friday. And probably by next week, we'll be going 5 days a week, with Shannon running her own show and with Roxy coming online with running the show. We're going for it, guys. We're going for it. I hope that you see the extraordinary amount of effort that we're putting forward in order to fight against the system that wants us just to shut up and sit down. But I will not be defeated. We will not be defeated. Just ain't happening. I love you. We'll see you all guys again real soon. Friday, if not sooner, here on the Supernatural Show. Love you guys. Bye for now.